Hey everybody, how's it going? You're joining me, Zach, here for another quick AOS up and coming today, chatting about today's Warcom, the Kharadron Overlords. Before we get any further, I want to remind you, if you're watching this, give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, a couple other things. We'll chat our schedule here real quick. You see there in the middle, we're doing these pretty much every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. As long as we are heading into 4th edition. We're getting through these faction focuses for now, and who knows what else in the lead up to 4th ed. And you can see the stuff there we've got going on the left and on the right. Hobby hangouts, which we think are a lot of fun. And then also AOS games. Our Monday night game last night was kind of a wild one. If you're a member, go back and check it out. If you're not a member, consider becoming one. It's pretty cheap, $4 a month, and go check it out as we finish up 3rd ed and head into 4th ed. And keep in mind, when 4th ed launches, we will be going nutso, and we will have a lot of members-only content in addition to non-members content. Last thing I want to talk about real quick before we jump into it today is tonight on Heroes Brush Hour over on Twitch, our very own Megan will be participating in their speed painting competition. This is sort of a wacky thing that this Twitch channel does. Where they have guests from the community, the painting community, and this kind of mix of painting in 1 hour, speed painting, and then also chat interaction where you can sort of mess with people painting. So Meg will love to see some familiar names in there, I'm sure. If you've got the time, it's a little late, 7 p.m. Pacific time for a lot of you, but if you've got the time, make it over there and check it out. It's actually a pretty cool channel. We've been watching some of them in preparation for Meg's appearance. Okay, let me bring in our other lovely cast member, Cire. There he is, surrounded in the background by space dwarves.
I'm in the skyport.
In the skyport. Okay, Cire, Cire knows this faction better than me here. Let's get a cool picture. I've super limited familiarity with this faction. I would say it might be one of 2 or 3 factions that in 3 years of competitive Sigmar I've never played. I've literally played 1 casual game against this army, and it wasn't even their current 3rd ed book. It was their old 3rd ed book. It's just never happened somehow. It's not that I haven't seen them around me or haven't seen them in competitions that I've been at in tournaments. It's just never happened. Meanwhile, Cire, you are actually gearing up to get this army on the tabletop.
Yeah, when you say I have more experience, this is very much like an Inglorious Bastards. I know more Italian than you,
Yes.
but you don't know Italian, so you know the second most. Um, I have a lot of models ready to be built. I have built lists in AOS. I've never played the army, so
Right.
neither of us are super familiar with it. But I did a lot of theory crafting, so I'm basically an expert.
That I think that counts, and for a lot of people, that does count. What are they being chased by in this picture? Oh, those are like fell bats. Okay.
Yeah, some fell bats or furies maybe.
Okay.
Look like bats.
All right. So, do we want to chat? You were saying maybe kind of chat an initial, just right out of the gate reaction to this article today.
Yeah, I think we wanted to do a gut check. And I think for me, if I were going to break it down, the goods are it's good to see that GW are wanting to encourage more interactivity. This was kind of a non-interactive army at times.
Yeah.
Um, there seems to be a simplification in the units' shooting profiles. So they've combined a lot of weapons into one. So you're not shooting literally 5 different things in one combat.
And we've seen this with monsters as well. So zero surprise that weapons are getting consolidated, and it makes sense if you actually. We were talking about ways that we think the game might speed up, and we were saying we haven't been seeing any, and I'm starting to see some in subtle ways, and this is one of them. If you don't have to roll six might be high. I'm gonna say 4 different weapon profiles for one of these things. Instead, you're rolling 2. That's helpful.
Yeah, but let's not get ahead of ourselves there.
Okay.
One of the bads is I feel like the movement, the way that movement now works with like embarking and disembarking, if you can
Yeah.
even call it that anymore, it feels clunky. It
It
feels
read clunky. It read clunky for
it read
sure.
clunky for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to make things any simpler. It's kind of a two steps forward, one step back thing is what it feels like.
Okay.
This is much more kind of. It seems like it's kind of annoying. We'll have to actually play it. Maybe it's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
And then something else we were talking about is they've really been emphasizing. GW's really been emphasizing, like endless spells, incantations, and these free spell lores and stuff like that. And that's just something that KO doesn't have access to. At least it doesn't look like it. I think they actually go out of their way to say that they don't. So how is that going to be made up for? Is that just something you're not going to be able to interact with? Obviously, you're going to be able to dispel stuff. But
Right.
the fact that once a game abilities are not going to replace a spell that you can summon every turn. It's just not the same.
Yeah, we were chatting a little bit about this before chat. I still don't think we have the full picture of how spell lores and picking up invocations and endless spells or whatever they're called work. And I don't know when we're gonna get it. A lot of people are wondering: are we going straight from a faction focus into playing Fourth Ed? Will the last day before be like the final faction focus, or the Friday before, and then the next Saturday is probably pre-orders, and then we'll maybe see some more over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't even know the pre-order period. I still don't feel like we know how spells and stuff work, which is weird, right? Like because Brett the Brett theory of like you can't really tell how much is going on. I once again feel like yesterday we said this about the Free Guild Marshal. Today feels like we are more in a vacuum again, and like there's not a lot we can tell. Can I call out real quick? I've interrupted you here, sorry, but can I call out real quick how much 40k terrain has been used to build this scene? It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah.
I see
The floor for sure, right?
The floor you see in the back left corner. There's Sector Mechanicus railings.
I mean, it all adds up.
In the top left corner, yeah, it's kind of interesting. A lot of 40k terrain here. Kind of cool.
I think you could probably grab a Mechanicus Archaeopter or whatever it's called and run it in this army, and it wouldn't be weird.
Yeah, probably. And that kid is so cool too, the Archaeopter. Yeah. Okay, so the good, you said things consolidated. The bad, are you doing a good, bad, ugly, or just good, bad?
Well, I guess if we were doing ugly, the ugly would be
the clunkiness.
The clunkiness, and to me, the ugly is that it doesn't feel right. Like, I understand where they're coming from. Like, they want to make it so that your units are on the board, which I think is actually good reasoning. Having your painted army actually on the table instead of hidden away in transports.
Right.
But it doesn't feel like your, pirates in these airships. It feels like it doesn't really feel like it makes any sense. Like it's like, all right, let's get in, let's get out, let's get out. Let's get in, let's move, let's get out.
Lore wise, what they're suggesting with this, and by the way, I hadn't really thought about what you were saying till you just said it, and it does make sense because currently, you take all these dwarves, these sky dwarven, and you put them on the side of the table, and you go, these guys are in here, these guys are in here, these guys are in here, and then those sky vessels move around. And it can be the case that, my understanding is, it can be the case that they never even get out. When exactly. if you charge a sky vessel, you can choose to fight the sky vessel or the guys inside. You can be fighting guys who are sitting off the side of the board, right?
Yeah.
And it's been changed now to this sort of lore-wise concept that these sky vessels are, I guess they're all like right hanging on the rails or kind of
something,
like hanging off ropes. And as soon as the ship lands, they all hop off and they start blasting. Of course, it does lead to the question, strategy-wise, should they not just stay on the boats and start blasting? I guess they're kind of thinking about them as protectors of the sky vessel, which sort of makes sense because aren't these guys kind of like cheap, greedy business owner bastards? And
some of them are.
Wouldn't they be like, hey, it'd be better if we were on the ground as 20 witch elves ran at us instead of letting those witch elves smash our boat, right? Like, yeah. I don't know.
Protect the asset.
Protect the assets.
All right. Shall we get into some battle traits? I mean, I guess we don't really need to to go over. We just went over what the lore is. They're greedy sky dwarves who want that spice
They're
or whatever they call it here,
they're going
ether
for
gold.
ether gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk just
All right.
about battle traits, and
Sure.
I'm gonna say, sorry. Can I start by asking a question?
Yes.
While it is fair to say that having sky vessels and having guys that can get in sky vessels and get out of sky vessels and do things is a
Hmm.
battle trait, is cool. I have to say that I feel that looking at one page of battle traits, I sort of genuinely only see one ability here, and then the rest is an explanation of how your models work.
Yeah.
Not so much
That
a
is
battle trait.
not really. Again, this is kind of where I'm at too. This doesn't really feel like a battle trait.
In
This
40,
feels like
yeah. Now here's what you could say about it is if you thought about somebody that started playing Sigmar and then went to play 40K and saw how transports work, that person would be like, "Wow, everyone gets transports in this game." Whereas,
well, they would say, "Wow, transfers work a lot better in this game."
yeah, and they would say that, and they would say, "Wow, like, oh, okay, transports aren't a special ability." Because as somebody
What?
who came from the 40K world, where you're looking at this and you're being like, "This isn't really an ability. This is just how transports work."
This is a core rule.
This is a core rule. Just Kharadron happened to be the only army that have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you have the ability to set up within a sky vessel. You can start in the clouds. You can not deep strike because that's not what this is. You can, come out from reserves 9 inches away.
Yeah.
And then the difference is now that everything that's inside of it has to immediately get out as
Yeah.
well.
They
So
get out to
that's a
protect
little-
the assets.
Yeah, they got to protect the asset.
Now, there's
Now
going to
talking
be
of,
there's
yeah, go
going to
ahead.
be some clever play there about choices.
Mhm.
Speaking of protecting the assets, you're going to be in a position frequently to say, who am I dumping in front to get charged next turn?
Yeah.
So there is
Yeah, so
that.
there's
Yeah.
play there.
Yeah.
All right, so and then the reaction is so you pick a sky vessel, and you can pick up a number of units up to the transport capacity that are wholly within 6 inches, and then you basically pick them up. And so we're trying to figure out is this: can you just pick people out of combat? That's
If it
could be
doesn't say you can't, then you can.
declare
that
non-charge movability. Yeah, kind of interesting.
a
So it's a lot of
non-charge.
just yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the vessel would have to be out of combat, obviously, but that doesn't seem impossible to set up.
Okay, the sky vessel. Yeah, the sky vessel has to be using the move ability, which I think right. So to there we're under. It doesn't say using a move ability.
Yeah,
The
this
move
is the
ability.
move ability.
So, but then you declared a non-charge move for a friendly sky vessel. Okay, and then
So it's possible. It seems like if it requires a little funky setup, but it seems like if a unit, if you have some dwarves on the ground who are in combat,
Yeah.
if the sky vessel is outside of 3 inches of them, but the whole unit is within 6, you could just pluck them out of combat. At least that's how I'm reading it. So that could be interesting. They do talk about like moving units outside of, because it's not a fallback. You're just picking them up.
yeah.
So maybe there's an FAQ needed or clarification for that needed, but
Can we
that's how I'm reading it.
can we agree for stream right now that we're not gonna pick the units up, move the sky vessel, and then put the units back down? We're gonna move the sky vessel and then move the units over there, please.
Is that against rule? I don't know. We'd have to get that clarified. Yeah.
Yeah. So iframe confirms like redeploy counts as a move ability. So that move ability. This guy using that move ability. So pick a number.
But is this a redeploy? This isn't a redeploy though.
Well, no, it is a move ability, and it says you declare a non-charge move ability. So it only doesn't work. It does feel awkward, Elijah. It only doesn't work if you're declaring charge. But if you're redeploying, if you're retreating, if you're moving, It doesn't matter. The sky vessel could actually even retreat out of combat and still do this.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also iframe retreat would be the other move. Yeah, retreat as well. So the it's actually pretty flexible. It just literally can't be a charge.
Yeah. Okay.
And so so this is good. So this is this is pretty good actually. And this is a reaction ability to yourself, which is kind of funny. And so
what am I doing? Ah!
And it's not once per battle, so you could do this all over the battlefield. Yeah. Okay.
Just
okay.
picking up guys.
This is
flying all over
truly
the place.
you do want to be protecting the assets now. You are going to dump the guys out. You're going to lose half of them, and then the other half are going to hop back in the ship, and the ship's going to move away. Okay.
Yeah. And then sky vessel cover -1 to hit if you're for units standing within 6 inches of a large sky vessel, meaning the ironclad or the frigate.
This is for shooting attacks, though. That's the issue. Yeah. And I was gonna say, if it was melee attacks, this actually is quite strong. But it's okay against shooting attacks. There's going to be shooting in the game, but one can't always help but want more, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. This seems great against Kharadron Overlords.
Yeah, if you're playing other Kharadron Overlords, you're in good
shape. This is great.
Yeah. Okay. Right out of the gate, this is an interesting play style. Is this a? I mean, you were drawn to this army because you like you like kind of close range fire.
Yeah.
And this is going to be close range fire, followed up by getting attacked, trying to survive the attacks with like fairly durable units. Not. Yeah. I think we're lacking in wards. Probably, and we're probably lacking in the case of Argonaut companies, wounds, really, right?
Yeah.
So it is not super hard. A lot of units can pick up 10 models with a 4-up save and no ward.
Mm-hmm.
But can they pick up? The question then is, you can basically do. This is before your time, Cire, but there used to be a thing called Fish of. This is also before my time, by the way. It was just Fish of Fury, you've heard that before? Yeah. You can basically Fish of Fury now. You could drop off, get behind, shoot under the vehicle.
Yeah.
Block your squishy unit with a frigate.
Yep.
Have the frigate take a bunch of damage. Yeah.
And then just hop back in and get out of there.
And I think more interesting also is looking at some of the transport capacities of some of these things, because I'm curious, is there a tough unit you can drop off in front? 6 and are 6 balloon boys tougher than 10 Argonauts? Maybe not, actually.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If anything, you probably want it to go the other way around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, do we feel like we've covered this? Does this make sense?
Yeah, I think we've covered it. It's worded a little weirdly, not bad.
You're the guy.
Not great.
You're the guy with boxes upon boxes of these guys at this point.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Does this play style interest you? Do you like this? It is a micro mini game all over the board, every turn for the person playing this army. Yeah.
The only constantly having to move my models around every time I move I want to move a large vessel is kind of annoying, but I'll get used to it. I'll get over it.
It's weird. You're kind of moving vessels and then like moving dwarves near it. In a way, it's actually faster movement, because literally what you're doing is you're thinking about the movement of one frigate or what's the other one they have? The
Ironclad.
Ironclad. You're moving either a frigate or an ironclad, and then there's also the tiny one. You're moving like one of these small boats, one of these large boats or medium boats. You move it, and then you just pick up the dwarves that were near it and just set them near it again.
Yeah, it's still, it's not like moving a normal army still.
Right.
But it's not as easy as it used to be.
Of just ignoring all the models as they say.
Yeah, exactly. I just have unpainted models because they're never going to see the table anyway.
It's right. It's going to be cool for our stream because you're a great painter. People are going to want to see those models on the table. Having them off to the side is just sort of like, why?
Yeah, it's annoying. I understand the reasoning. So,
yeah. Okay.
All right, let's look at these battle formations.
Yeah. Can I see if in the text here did they talk about? They don't really talk about any other ones here. Maybe afterwards.
No, so this kind of seems like there was a subfaction that had this ability before. I'm
Okay.
forgetting the name of it right now. Was
Yeah,
it
you got an extra artifact.
Eric Ziflin? That was the one where you got the extra artifact. So it's pretty much the same thing here.
And Kharadron have unlike a lot of armies, Kharadron have bonkers good artifacts. If I
Yeah,
remember correctly. Yeah. Okay.
some of them are pretty good. The ones I show here
Now,
are not. They're okay. They're not amazing.
yeah.
So let's just go through them. The artifacts fire that they show off are the Blazebeard and Sons Drac Hobbler Magbolas. So basically, this is a reduced charge by 1 dice against a monster.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But it's once per battle, any shooting or combat phase. I don't know. Feels
Feels limiting.
Feels limiting. But like, okay, here's what I'd say about it. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about different monsters out in the game. You know, if somebody shoots Marathi with this, then it limits my choices. It doesn't shut me down. If somebody hits a Great Unclean One with this, considering your army's movement and your army does have good movement and flexibility, then it probably does shut something like a Great Unclean One down for a turn. They're often moving 4 or 5 inches and needing to get like a 7 or an 8 or a 9. Whereas with something like some of the monsters I'm playing, like Marathi or a Stonehorn, I'm moving 12, 14. I'm running into 3 inches anyway before. Now that said, making me roll 1 die, needing a, not a 1 or a 2, kind of cute, but like, I don't know, once per game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is it's like the replacement for Arcana, and I mean they even cross out Arcana and Invocations.
Yes.
None of those are once per battle, at least as far as we know. So this does not feel like an equivalent exchange.
Yeah, we were talking about that before stream. We were saying, we wonder, or I wondered anyway, is there going to be some kind of something that they have access to that we feel like helps replace that? We haven't seen any mention in here of the addendums and preambles and to that. Here's my second call out with this once per shooting. Were we not here yesterday? Well, were we not talking about something yesterday that we thought was weird that it was once per? I feel like we've been having this conversation a lot. Like
I think there was. We might have been talking about the Stormcast. Once per game, he can choose other people to fight again.
Oh, so maybe, yeah. I'm very curious. Both these things have me curious. One, this is actually our first time looking at an artifact sheet for any faction. We will presumably everybody has artifacts. They're just showing the artifacts here because there's no spells, like you're saying. And then 2, yeah, we are seeing a lot of once per game, once per battle abilities and artifacts, and we know that the game is getting toned down. I guess this is a manifestation of
This is a way to do it.
Yeah.
Certainly a way to do it.
Okay, what else do we got here?
The Celestian Burst Grenade. I like this one. Pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit. Ward rolls cannot be made for the target for the rest of the turn. Quite good. If you really need something to die, you can throw this, shoot it, charge it, melee it. No wards. Nurgle is hating this.
A lot of death. I mean, my Night Haunt wouldn't like this. Yeah, again, once per battle, and 12-inch range. Okay. Again, I think like as long as we keep seeing this and we're comparing it in the world of 4th ed and not the world of 3rd ed, then it's fine. It's kind of cool.
It's actually I think of all the ones we see here, this is probably the one I like the most.
Okay.
And then we should talk about the last one. The Void Stone Orb, just straight unbind a spell. No roll. Just straight unbind a spell.
And I will say this.
Very good.
I will say this. I do appreciate about all 3 of these. It's not like once per battle, pick an enemy unit and roll a die, and on a 3-up, no wards. These things do just happen. You do just get to say once per game, boom, no ward rolls. Once per game, spell unbound. That's nice, at least.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see. We're gonna see ways to dispel stuff.
Yeah.
In a normal way, with even though we have no way to make spells, there's ways to do unbinding. So
yeah, I don't think
combining those with one where it just turns it straight off is solid.
I don't think this will be the only unbind in the army, and I agree with
Yeah.
you. And look, I think I think this is a strong one. Felipe says this is an auto take for him. It is super powerful, even though it's only once per game. This once per game can be critical.
Yeah, game changing.
Game changing, absolutely.
We don't know if Merciless Blizzard's going to make it over, but just being able to shut down a Merciless Blizzard and not make it an issue is quite strong.
Even something half as powerful as a Merciless Blizzard.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'll tell you another one that is big is a teleport spell. If somebody
yeah.
I mean, anytime you can most times when somebody needs to teleport, they really need to teleport. So if you can just say, nope, you can't teleport, you're stuck here. I'm shooting you next turn, or I'm charging you and killing you, or whatever, or you're not getting that objective over there that I left empty, or whatever. Super powerful, right? You only often only need this to happen once per game.
Yeah, you do have to. You do. You don't get to see if they cast the spell. They don't even get a chance. They declare that they're going to do a spell. You just shut it down. So.
And
It would be even better if they make the spell roll, because then there's a chance that they damage themselves with a double one. But
yeah,
I'll take it. Still incredibly good.
And we know just right out of the gate that if you are presumably, well, actually, we don't know if there will be more artifacts than this, but right out of the gate, we do know that at least one battle formation, if the one they're showing here, the Engineers Guild Expeditionary Force, we'll get 2 of these.
Yeah, exactly, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about
some
units.
War Scrolls here. Okay. Not surprising. Oh, sorry. I went to they don't have anything. Battle winning spell suddenly unbound with nary a thought. That's the most British. That's the most British thing they've typed yet. Okay. Unit focus. Yeah, not surprisingly, we're showing off all the characters all the time. Yeah. So here we go.
So we've got Brokk Grungsson.
Yeah.
His stat line looks pretty much identical.
Okay.
He still has D3+3. Grungson's Boast, Magnus Charter. It looks pretty much the same as far as I can recall. His Aethermatic Saw, I think, is got a slight retune. It used to be D3, 4 attacks. It's now 5 attacks, with 2 damage, which I think is probably just better overall.
Yeah. Oh, hey. You know what I haven't even thought about yet so far is, are we seeing Dwarden numbers here?
Oh, the what are they hit and wound on?
Yeah,
looks like 3s and 3s. Well, I guess we don't know.
Here's the Arcanaut.
They're all over the damn place.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. No one knows what. Yeah, this stupid. Someone consult the chart.
Well, it makes sense that. Oh my God! Oh wow! Yeah, these guys are all. These guys might be a bad army to read into for that though, because of all their weird weapons, I guess. But
yeah,
okay.
I guess in my mind, a dwarf is probably. They're not as agile as an elf. They're probably about as agile as a human, maybe less. So it should maybe be like 3s, or 4 3s.
I hate to say
they definitely
this.
Wound on 3s.
Oh, really? You think so? I don't know about that. Yeah. I think there's a listen. I gotta say, we're on topic here, but this is much more meta.
We're veering.
I do have to say, in a D6 system, I think that there's, sadly for dwarf players, a case to be made that they're just the same as humans, 4/4.
Really?
I mean, kind of. I mean, like, the question then is you'd want to put them up against something like an orc, which wounds on 3, and you're kind of asking yourself, is okay, are they more agile or skilled than a human? And I think the answer is yes, but are they not agile but skilled? But do they have to be? I don't know. Humans can be pretty skilled, and then are they stronger or as strong as an orc? And it's sort of like it's kind of like people always talk about when I was playing 40k. Tau players would always have this conversation that a fire warrior should hit better than a guardsman, but not as good as a space marine. So you end up saying, well, they hit on 4s because they're closer to guardsmen than space marine. So like, is it?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I kind of have to say, what I think is weird, and what I'm confused by, and will remain confused by. We were talking about this already. Is we saw down at the bottom of the sheet that Arcanaut companies have 1 wound. I feel like dwarves should have 2 wounds. That's what I feel like. They should be tougher. Right, exactly. Arcus says they're tougher. They should have 2 wounds. There's no toughness in AOS, but we show toughness. Oftentimes, things with 2 wounds have a T4. Used to have a T4. Yeah. What's the stupid birdman from Zinch? Zangor has 2 wounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of and Fire Slayers have 2 wounds.
Yeah, they're naked. Here's my take. A dwarf is as strong as an orc. They should wound the same as orcs, but they should have less attacks.
Oh, that's
so like
fair.
if an orc has 3 attacks, dwarves should have 2 attacks.
Because they're not as like yeah. They have to. They can get the strength, but they have to really like do it. They can't just like their wild swings can't be okay. That checks out.
They really have to concentrate. And yeah, I think it feels weird that they're not 2 wounds, but what's weird is a lot of their stuff is 2 wounds. It's what's weird. They're kind of all over the place. We'll get to the Sky Wardens in a minute. They have 2 wounds.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Brokk.
I took us off topic. Yeah, how's this guy? You said he hasn't changed too much.
So he hasn't changed too much. He did get a slight nerf with his Command the Fleet. So now it is pick 3 visible friendly sky vessels wholly within 24. There used to be no limit as far as I recall. There used to be no limit, and the effect is they can run and still shoot and charge. That's what the ability used to be, but you could re-roll the run roll. So it's just a flat nerf in that regard.
Okay.
I think mustache mounted ether blasters, I believe, are the same.
Ridiculous, but yeah. I like it. Well, we're seeing this cleanup of Steve and I were talking about this on Saturday. We're seeing this cleanup where you roll a die for D3 mortals, and if you get a 1, nothing happens. If you get a 2, 1 mortal wound, and then otherwise it's a normal D3.
Yeah. That has changed in that it used to be you roll for it and then you do D3. They've just kind of combined it.
What's so interesting about this is it took them a minute to jump on this, but they currently do it with D6. Like Lady Olinders does that. You roll 1 die 1 time. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2, that happens, right? Like for a D6.
Yeah. Something I don't know. Let's see. Pick 2 other friendly Skyfarer units with this unit's ability. Within combat range, add 1 to the attacks characteristic. I think you used to have to charge. Use my friendly bird. Yeah, so this is slightly changed. The first rule of Grungsson, I think, is slightly changed.
Well, this is good because for you're interested in more melee focused Sky Dwarves.
Yes, I was interested in Brokk Grungsson.
Yeah, this guy is from Brokk Grungsson, right?
I think he's Brokk Grungsson.
Brokk Grungsson. Okay, sorry, I didn't know that there were 2 that sounded almost exactly the same. Okay.
All right, let's talk about this frigate. I think again I don't think we're seeing any major changes on these.
Sorry for my information. Is the frigate the big one or the medium one?
Medium one.
Ironclad is the big one.
Ironclad's the big one. Gunhauler is the small one.
And Ironclad is like previously is like 20 or 22 wounds or something like that.
It was something large like that. Yeah, 22, I think, 24 maybe.
And Mectoplasm in chat has confirmed your thing, sir. He says if he charged, he gave everyone within 12 plus 1 more attack. This actually sounds better.
Yeah, they just have to be in combat.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone within 12 gets +1 attack is probably going to be 2 units anyway for this army. So this is good. Okay, sorry. Back to this. What's going on here? Sorry. What are the changes and?
So stat line looks the same.
Okay.
12-inch move, 15-inch, 15 wounds, 3 up save. That's the same. 5 control.
That's good. That's super good. You were previously 2.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, you're right.
Right?
That is good.
Yeah,
5 control versus 2. Yeah.
This is great actually. This is like gives them the you're a monster, not a monster. Right? It's not tied to the monster keyword anymore, which is still a keyword, but control is no longer tied to that. So that's cool. Okay. Unless they had it earlier. I don't know if they did. Sorry.
I'm not sure. No, it's all good. I'm not sure either. The Sky Cannon, I think, has been nerfed. The Sky Cannon used to have, sorry, the Heavy Sky Cannon used to have 2 modes. It used to have Shrapnel and Shell.
Oh.
One was more anti-infantry close range. One was more like directed. It seems like just kind of a flat nerf as far as I can see.
Which I can't say is a surprise. We're seeing that all over the place, right? Yeah.
You know, it used to be D3+2 with the shell, and it's now D3+1. It's the same number of shots, though. Yeah, I guess we're seeing a tone down of all the damage anyway. I guess it's not surprising. I really would have liked to see the 2 different shooting modes, though.
Yeah.
Skyhook looks about the same.
And you're picking one. You're picking one of these. You're not getting both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And I think the Skyhook with anti-monster Ren +1 is probably a buff. Honestly, I was always going with Sky Cannon because it's more versatile. I'm thinking maybe I'll actually go with Skyhooks now. Right? Because it's not like the Sky Cannon gets more shots.
Yeah. I think I still like the Sky. I think I still like the Sky Cannon more.
Yeah, I guess it's more universal. I guess there's more of a.
The thing is,
it's an actual choice now.
It is an actual choice. It is. Yeah. The thing is for me that is with 2 shots after I'm hitting on 4. For a powerful weapon, and this is a fairly powerful weapon. After I'm hitting on 4, I want to be wounding on 2. I mean, honestly, I want to be wounding on 1. But like, if I only have a 50% chance of hitting with my like big gun to begin with, then I'll take D3+1 damage. And frankly, then I don't want to roll 1 on damage either, right? Like, at least here, I'm doing between 2 and 4 points of damage. Like,
versus 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Also, they used to count for 5 models, so that hasn't changed actually.
They did used to count for 5 models. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
I mean, the real thing to talk about here is the assault boat rule.
Yeah.
So this is this is the one that screwed me up reading. I was like, I got to reread it like 3 times. Basically, you can pick a unit up, make a charge roll with the vessel, and then disembark the units, and they count as having charged, and they get strike first, which is pretty solid. Especially if they have a Barrack Zon equivalent, which, in the in 3rd edition they got +1 to hit and wound rolls. Being able to move with your have your assault boat in the back and then charge from the assault boat. It means you can charge a lot farther, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're moving the entire length of the frigate as well, so that's quite good. I'm unless I'm misreading it, that seems very strong to me. It means you can keep your units safe and then charge them in when you want to.
That's pretty cool.
Basically, getting an extra, whatever the base size of the frigate is, extra in distance.
And strike first is nice. It remains to be seen. Like it looks like they don't have a ton of super crazy wild melee. Like their melee is going to be, I think, pretty okay. But that's good because it means that they're one of these armies. Cities are a little bit like this too, where and Nurgle, quite frankly, where you're kind of hoping you kill enough stuff fighting first, so that the swing back doesn't wipe you out. And that's like kind of the line you're towing with an army like this. I think you're saying, look, I've got 4 ups, I've got 1 wound, and I'm going into something that's kind of deadly and a little fragile. So I can kill half that unit, and then that unit's going to kill not 10 of my guys, but maybe 5 of my guys or whatever. I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. There was a unit that was like solid in combat. I don't remember if it was Skywarden or Endrin Riggers. If you were Brokk Grungsson, you were basically hitting on twos, wounding on twos for 3 attacks, AP 2 damage, maybe D3.
On the
So like
balloon guys though.
yeah, the balloon boys. Like
But there's just
they're
not
no
that
joke.
there's just not that many of them though is the issue.
No, 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 you're right.
They come in units of 3, right? So I mean the stats you're talking about are good, but there's
Yeah.
not right. Okay, their transport capacity 2 units. Okay, combined up to 12 models. So that's a character and a Arcanaut company, or it's 2 full squads of balloon boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be quite good. All right. Battle damage, that's nothing to really care about, and then the bomb racks is fine. You might do 3 mortal wounds if you move over something.
I mean, I think this is good. I mean, they can do this all game long. So I
yeah,
like
it's
this.
a free ability, so it's like I'm not gonna complain, right?
Yeah, with 12-inch movement. Yeah, I like this. And they have that now. That's not new. Okay, so let's see.
Talk Skywardens.
Skywardens, yeah. These are the balloon boys.
I think these are the same. Yeah, 2 up, 4 up, 12-inch move. Bravery's not a thing anymore. Let's see, did they mix some of the? I think they got rid of one of the weapons. I don't see the drill launcher anymore, so it looks like they've kind of, they've combined that into one thing. The grapnel launcher, skyhooker, drill launcher, it looks like they're one thing now. And yeah, I mean they look pretty much the same as far as I can see. Yeah, nothing crazy. Okay. They're fine. They're good. These are your potential melee guys. They do criticals on mortals. They did lose an attack though, which is actually maybe not great. Now that I'm looking at it, they only have 2 attacks each. That's rough.
Yeah. It kind of makes. I think you're gonna see people either. It's a good thing you didn't build these yet. I think you're gonna see people either want to just keep the pistol and the sky pike if you want to be melee, or you're gonna say like, does this unit compete with the thunder guys who we're gonna see in a second here? Does this unit compete with them as an interesting shooting unit? I don't know that it does. So I'm almost kind of wondering, did we just accidentally like take out interest in these? Let me see. Ethermatic volley gun is not super compelling.
No.
And the heavy gun is not compelling at all. So you're keeping. Wow, yeah, you're wow. And the Vulcanizer pistol is actually good.
Yeah, so why would you?
Yeah, you're not.
These are your melee guys. You know, and they also have shooting combat, so
Oh, okay. Listen, I actually like these guys as melee. I don't know why you would take any of these. I don't know why you would take any of these heavy weapons. Yeah.
That shooting combat is it's making them like quite good, actually.
If they can survive their first round and double turn or survive a second round, then it's good. Or if there's something that lets them shoot in combat that we'll see later.
Yeah. Their weapon, their Vulcanizer pistols can shoot in combarbat.
No, I know. I'm saying, but like you'll charge, you won't.
Shoot immediately.
You'll charge after you shoot. Then you'll have to survive a round, and if it's your turn again, if you've double turned, then you can do it. Yeah, it's not bad, Steven, but they're hitting on 4s and wounding on 4s and no rend. It's that thing where each of the 2 heavy guns, except for the Sky Warden heavy weapon, I have no idea what makes that special. But the other two guns have something, or the volley cannon is like some compelling. Then it's like everything else is garbage around it.
These are definitely good.
No, you're replacing your melee with a 4/5 no rend 1 damage.
Yeah, it's
a gun butt. Like that's no good. Yeah, you want the Sky
Skypike, excuse me. Yeah,
Skypikes.
this is definitely like you're not you don't have a hammer, you know. These are we softened this unit up for you. We're serving them up on a platter. We've shot the hell out of them already. Now you can go in.
Yeah, these
Don't,
guys will
don't
clean
charge
up.
us into a fully strong unit.
Yeah, with all attack, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, Ren 1, 2 damage. These guys and the mortals, if you're only 6s, a unit of 6 of these guys will clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. And,
Very cool.
and the time charge, we kind of skipped over that. The
Oh, yeah.
potential for mortal wounds on the charge. Not a ton, but it's fine.
End of any turn. Oh, and then they can retreat.
Yeah, you can't keep them pinned down.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm into these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just need to. We talked about surviving the hit back. There you go.
Okay, now, yeah. Sorry,
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that the Thunderers have kind of been one of the scary units that we've dealt with. I've never played them, but so I'm told. How have these guys changed?
Oh, thank God they combined their weapons, so you're not shooting 5 different weapons.
Instead, you're shooting 3.
3 different weapons.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Which is an improvement. So the fumigator / deck sweeper. I think this is a buff. It used to be. It's leaning more deck sweeper. You've lost 2 inches of range though.
Okay.
And it's basically just the deck sweeper profile. But you get anti-infantry 1, and you can shoot in combat.
Okay.
So, they just kind of got rid of fumigator. They're just like, whatever, that doesn't exist anymore. The mortar and ether cannon. This is kind of weird. This feels like drastically different to me. It feels just like a nerf. The ether cannon used to be 1 attack, which isn't great, but it was 3/2 -2 damage 3.
Okay.
And now you're getting 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, only rend 1 D3 damage. So that doesn't feel great.
No. Okay.
Yeah, these are your shooty guys. I think the fact that you're getting the fumigator and deck sweeper, that's 10 shots. Still wounding on 4s, but like it's not terrible.
So you're doing the replacing because the ether rifle is not bad, but it's not great.
I think you'll probably end up replacing.
Yeah, you're gonna replace it. The only thing it has over the fumigator deck sweeper is
the range.
Yeah, and interestingly, these guys, if they don't move, so if they're sitting there, although it says your shooting phase. This unit did not use a move ability this turn. It was not being set up this turn. They have ranged weapons, have shooting combat for the rest of the turn. This is weird though. It's your shooting phase. So it means that you probably already either have to be in combat.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could just make a charge. Like if somebody moved close to you, you could no. Charge is
countercharged, right?
No, charge is a move ability. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
how does this work?
if you get countercharged.
Yeah. But you'd have to move into position.
Yeah, this is not. This isn't a great. I thought this would be a more interesting ability if it took place. Like if your opponent charged you, and then you survive the hit with a guy or two, and then you can shoot your guns at them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is confusing.
In that context, I think it's a good ability. As it stands, I need these guys. I would say don't look good, but my guess is that there's something else in the book that makes them more interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's kind of an odd. Yeah, it's a little odd.
I mean, in the context of my boat gets out, there's 5 guys in the squad. I mean, in the context of a boat with 2 units of these guys for 10, and then a character or two that buffs them, hopping out of a boat, and that's what people are doing currently, right? Hopping out of a boat and blasting, then they're interesting, and maybe they're even more balanced now, right? But in the context of like just looking at them in a vacuum, they don't look good.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, if you reinforce this unit, it's not trivial. It's not a trivial
Right.
amount of shots.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Now, word from the studio. Yeah, so this is what we were talking about at the beginning. They basically are saying they want to make it so that the units are actually on the board. They want to make it a little more interactive and make it so that if you spend hours painting these models, you actually get to put them on the table.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
I guess I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Still feels clunky, but what are you gonna do?
Spearhead, as always, we like to just check a little bit into it. The Spearhead rule typically we think won't matter too much. It feels like it's usually a watered down version of the book.
Yeah.
Like we can kind of be like, oh, okay, that which is good, which is a good thing, I think. But then we can get a look at stat lines. The only thing I'm curious about is Arcanaut Control going to stick with one? That's kind of interesting. This means that this might be an army that kind of struggles with control, which it might be. It might be. I mean, it kind of makes sense for it to be an army that doesn't have great control.
Yeah, Arcanaut Company still one wound. Or one health, excuse me. Feels weird. Feels like they should be two.
Feels like they should be two. That's my dwarf. My wish for dwarves. And then who are we doing tomorrow? Disciples of Tzeentch.
Yeah, Disciples of Tzeentch is tomorrow.
Boy,
exciting.
If we know not very much about Kharadron, wait until you see tomorrow.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, A-frame, they're so pillow-fisted. That's kind of what I was feeling. I was thinking like we're seeing a general decrease in lethality across the board, but man, these guys feel like they don't do anything. Even the frigates feel like, or the frigate that we've seen is like, what? You're not killing anything. You're not really stopping anyone. It seems like. But we'll have to see. You know, maybe it plays better than it reads.
Yeah, because it's unlikely that the stat line is changed from the game, right? It's also possible that they're just cheap, and you're like taking a lot of them. It's possible that even the boats are not that expensive, and you're getting more than you thought you were, and it's like nothing at all. It's like under 200 to take the little boat. Oh, the little boat only carries 5 though, huh?
Yeah.
Currently, the little boat can't even take an Arcanaut Company. But it's possible that maybe the frigate and 10 of these guys and the character is like under 400.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're wanting this army to have everything be reinforced, right? It's like these stat lines are written with, oh, you're bringing 20 or what are these Arcanauts? Yeah, you're bringing 20 Arcanauts and you're bringing per unit or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like a lot of the rules here. This one with the cities reveal yesterday. I felt like I could see a lot of the tech being set up, but we even saw some specific tech and combos that were like right away kind of visible. Yeah. We didn't quite get that here, other than the whole army is covered in tech because the whole army is got their cute boat thing, right? So. Yeah. I think I definitely feel like I need to see more. And like you were saying, Cire, for sure, I need to know like what's going on with magic and what's going on with how you get lores and what's going on here. We did a poll, by the way. The poll was, how did GW do? I said, so far so good, not sure, and yikes. And not sure has won, which is, I guess, kind of where I'm at.
Where I'm at. It doesn't feel bad.
No.
It feels not confusing, just like I don't see the full I can't see to the horizon, I guess. I don't know, is that a thing? Like I can't see the whole picture.
Yeah. In the school of like we can do releases and we can get excited about them. Or we can get a release that's like, guys, there's not enough going on for me to really get excited. then this
Yeah.
is that one. The only thing, of course, we like is not really a rules thing. It's like, well, it is a rules thing. It's like the whole, here are my models on the table instead of just sitting off the side of the table.
Yeah. I do feel I wish they would have kept the making a contract thing. I thought that was much more interesting.
Yeah.
I would have really liked to see that return. That's a bummer. But I think we really need to see the other characters. This is a pretty character-based army.
Okay.
Um, like the ether, what is it, the navigators and stuff like that. So
Yeah, the main like little guy, they're unnamed like main
the
dude. I forget.
admirals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I met with the sky balloon guy, leader guy, can be quite
Yeah.
nasty. He could previously take some very nasty weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
I'm still gonna build the army, so
Yeah. I think. I mean, listen. If nothing else, it's definitely going to be a fun army to play. I think the question is just going to be. I'm more for me more than anything, Saray. I almost want to see points. Because an army like this that had a decent amount of models in it would actually be quite strong. You wouldn't
yeah.
feel like you were wrecking face, but you'd have a lot of models and a lot of flexibility, and you'd be like, wow, like my opponent's struggling to remove me, and I still have units that can do things like, pick back up and move and pull out of combat stuff. Like it's kind of it could be a lot if you had a lot of flexibility and a lot of models.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks like Steven's going to join us tomorrow potentially and save us.
Fun. Okay, good. That's great. Yeah. So tomorrow, Zinch, we're gonna say bye to Saray, and just one
Bye. See
last
you guys
time,
tomorrow.
remind you guys that we will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. talking about Disciples of Zinch. And also, one last reminder to check out Meg tonight on Heroes Brush Hour, which is on Twitch, over at Twitch. Go say hi to her if you've got the time. And I think with that, we are finished. As usual, we want to thank our mandrills. There's a bunch of you guys. You make much of this possible. It's nice to see the support. It's nice to see you guys in chat. We really appreciate it. Tomorrow, Disciples of Zinch. And with that, we will say bye. See you guys.